Warning: the following visual novel contains subject matter that some viewers may find sensitive and perhaps even distressing. For example, this visual novel touches upon issues of xenophobia, anti-LGBT prejudice, toxic masculinity, abusive behaviour, and also sexual assault and the trauma that it inflicts upon its victims. This does mean that certain scenes within the game will likely make many players feel uncomfortable. If you have ever been a victim of xenophobia, anti-LGBT prejudice, abuse or violence, especially including of a sexual nature, then please be aware of this before you watch this playthrough. And please rest assured that the words and actions of certain characters within this visual novel should not be taken to reflect the views of either myself as a Let's Player or of the devs who made the game. For full disclosure, I am a supporter of LGBT rights. I am a supporter of challenging and tackling xenophobia and prejudice of any kind, and I am also well aware of the trauma suffered by victims of violence and abuse, and the need to therefore treat them with sympathy and support. The General Red Strategist channel is meant to be a safe space where people of all walks of life can come and enjoy my content. Thank you for listening to this. I just wanted to make this clear, as I felt that some of the issues touched upon in this visual novel could be shocking for some. It's going to take me here, isn't it? So I have to return to the plane. Are we ever going to see this thing that's killing? No, it was too much. We've been desperately fighting for our lives together for so many days, not to risk it like this now. Whoever it is, I don't want to see it. Maybe later, when we're rescued, I'll post about it on social media. I think there'll be those who will believe me. Maybe they'll even mount an expedition that will thoroughly study this area and find a Bigfoot or discover a new species of mountain apes. But that will be later and I won't be involved. Right now, I only have one task: to survive and return to my family. I hastened towards the plane. Soon the fear made me start running. But the faster I ran, the more it seemed that there was someone behind me. A monster that's about to catch me. At some point, I even thought I could hear its breathing. When I finally saw the plane, I breathed a sigh of relief, slowed down, and fell into the snow. After a couple of minutes, I finally got up. Tired and cold, but alive and relatively healthy, I moved to the plane. I took a deep breath and went inside. I decided that I would not tell anyone about what I saw. Widespread panic among people who are already close to despair. I would maybe think about whether there's certain trusted members of the group, Nick, who you could tell. I don't know, maybe Mark or someone. Besides, I was also afraid that they wouldn't believe me. I didn't want them to think that stress was driving me nuts. I was thinking about how I'd explain to Lisa why I'm out of breath and how I managed to fall in the snow again, but instead of the doctor's strict voice, I heard Inokenti Igorevich shouting. Oh. Uh-oh. Inokenti? What's up? It was you who did it, asshole. Don't try to fool me, I see right through you. Shut up, old man. You're either lying or just crazy. How you fucking dare speak to me with me like that? Do you think that if you fooled the girls, then your tricks will work with me too? Hell no. Inokenti Igorevich... Oh wait, this is Lisa. Inokenti Igorevich, please calm down. Lisa, you're a good girl, but also too naive. Don't believe a single word of that snake. Old man, watch your mouth. You're in no position to behave like that. Besides Andre, there were also other people who had returned to the plane. Elisa, Vitya and Kira. I approached the latter. Kira, why did they argue? Uh-oh. She did not answer, staring blankly ahead of her. It wasn't like her at all. Kira was one of those people who held on and hoped for better no matter what. What happened to her? She hadn't looked so desperate this morning. Shut up or you'll be sorry. Don't you dare threaten me, you bastard. I thought it would be better not to disturb Kira now, so I approached Vitya. Vitya, do you know what's going on here? Something fucked up, little bro. I came back and found that several portions of food had been stolen. Mine, Tonya's, Kira's. We kept it in one place. Why'd you put all your food in one place? I was afraid that I'd not hold back and eat the remaining portions, so I asked Kira to hide them. Tonya also joined in, so all our food was in Kira's bag in one of the overhead bins. And why does Inokenti Igorevich accuse Andre? Kira checked a bag yesterday before going to sleep, bruh, and Inokenti Igorevich says he woke up at night and saw Andre going through someone's bag. Is he sure it was Kira's bag? He isn't. It was dark and he didn't get a good look. But why else would Andre go through other people's belongings at night? The last thing we needed was the thief. Because of this news, I almost forgot about the footprints. Who could it be? I didn't really like Andre, but Inokenti Igorovich's testimony wasn't enough to unequivocally accuse him. And do you know what happened to Kira? Having said this, I lowered my voice so that she would not hear me. Vicia whispered also. No idea, little bro. When Alice and I returned to the plane, Kira's already sitting there, also as if out of her mind. Kira's been on edge all the time lately. Maybe she was finally finished up by the news about the thief? When Tonya and Mark walked into the plane, I calmed down a little. If there is anyone who can make everyone calm, it's Tonya. If there's anyone who can show rationality instead of emotions and think over our next steps, it's Mark. Oh boy. Okay, so are these two basically being set up as kind of like the glue that will hold this group together? That makes me worried in case in like episode 2 or something they get killed off. Hearing Andrei and Inokenti Igorevich yelling at each other, Tonya quickly went to calm them down, and Mark came up to me to find out what was happening here. Uh-oh. Chapter 10? Kira, please. You gotta do something here. You need to talk to someone. I haven't spoken to anyone since yesterday. I wish to hide, to shut myself out. I didn't want to see or hear anyone. Unfortunately, it was not possible to isolate completely. I know that me sitting here saying you should talk to someone is easier said than done. Because the sad sort of reality often for a lot of like rape victims is that they feel like too scared and too ashamed to come forward and accuse people because they feel like they're not going to be believed, or they're frightened that the perpetrator will hurt them. That's what is actually making this quite impactful. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to have to put some warnings on these videos that this is dealing with some pretty heavy subject matter. I wish to hide. Okay. Meanwhile, some events were taking place in the background. I tried to ignore them, but the news still reached me. There were some good ones. For example, yesterday Vadim and Mitrich found several more bags with food in them. It was divided into several portions, which should have been enough for about 3 days. At the same time, Nastya and Boria did not return from the search yesterday, so the bad news obviously outweighed the good ones. Therefore, the atmosphere in the camp was simply awful. The disappearance of 2 survivors and the revealed theft of food finally finished everyone off. Suddenly I found myself thinking an awful thought. Bad news calmed me a little. I didn't want to be the only one who suffers. I guess I'm a bad person, I deserved everything. No, you didn't! No! You see, that's the thing though. Often, like, there's a lot of accounts from like rape survivors and victims who basically, you know, afterwards they feel almost like a sense of shame, even though they're not at fault. Because the thing is, like, a lot of rape is not carried out by strangers. It's carried out by people that the victim know, people that the victims know, friends, or, you know, even relatives. Sometimes it can like be in domestic abusive relationships, things like that. And of course it's like that person who committed the crime is just like wielding power over them. And that's what makes it so tragic, you know? In the late afternoon, Andrei began to approach the members of the group one by one and asked them to gather today in the central part of the plane to discuss an important issue. He better not fucking turn the whole group against Kira. Finally, he approached me. Cyrus, can we go out for a few minutes? I obediently followed him. Oh god. When we were a good distance away from the plane, he spoke. How are you? You seem to be out of sorts today. Oh yeah, I wonder fucking why, mate. Stop it, please. Haven't you figured out yet that it's better to relax and enjoy? I looked into his eyes and something clicked. I realised what could help me not go crazy. Revenge. For some reason I started thinking about this only now. Now I need to come up with a plan. Leave me alone. I see you still haven't accepted it. Too bad, it's worse for you. If you're up to something, I can remind you what awaits you. I'm not up to anything. We'll check this today. If you prove that you're ready to obey me, you'll stay alive. Got it? How am I supposed to prove it? You'll find out today during the meeting. I hope you won't be stupid. Oh, you fucking asshole. Oh, God, I really want one of the characters to come out now, take that knife and just plunge it into your fucking back. He smilingly took his knife out of his pocket and showed it to me. Do you understand me? I nodded. About an hour later, the meeting he was talking about began. Friends, I think we need to introduce one rule into our lives. I believe that it will be fair if food and other supplies are distributed among those who participate in their production. You son of a bitch. Oh my god, he's like setting himself up as like mini Hitler, isn't he? For everyone else, we need to reduce the quota and give them supplies only if there is a surplus. Now it's clear why Andrei decided to hold a meeting in the centre. He did not want the wounded in the tail section to hear him. Okay, so the group is now going to divide, I'm guessing. Andre, are you out of your mind? Predictably, the one who was most outraged by this proposal was Lisa. No, Lisa, I'm of sound body and mind. There was mockery in Andre's voice, and on his face he had a barely perceptible ironical smile. Trying to calm down, Lisa took a deep breath. Andre, you can't do that. I'm against it. It's unfair. Do you even realise that such a decision is equivalent to a death sentence? You can't deprive these people of food. They're the ones who need it the most. I wish them no ill. Find a couple more bags of unspoiled food and everyone will be saved. Can you handle it? And how did you calculate who needs food more and who needs less? But they're injured. It doesn't give them any privileges. There is not enough food for everyone. Are you ready to donate your share of food to give extra supplies to the wounded? I'm not talking about extra supplies. I only say that everyone should get the same ration as before. Lisa, I repeat once again, there is not enough food now. We have to start saving it. The supplies we found are running out fast. It's possible that we won't find any more bags with food. So what? Why did you decide that you deserve more food? Lisa's voice was trembling. She barely restrained herself from crying or screaming. Because there is still a chance for me and everyone gathered here to survive. It's relatively high. And the wounded have almost zero chance. You should understand this too. 2 of them sleep almost all the time. The granny faints when she tries to get up, and her husband has gone crazy now, and now he's hallucinating. Now it's clear why he started all this. Such a petty person as Andre could not help but use the opportunity to take revenge. He decided to kill the poor old man who dared to accuse him of stealing, and I won't be surprised if these allegations turn out to be true. You aren't in charge of this food. It doesn't belong to you. It does. I brought it. Oh, so we're claiming ownership now, are we? You did? Who then? You? Yes, Nick and I found one of the bags. Yes, please, Mark. Stand up here. We need you to put your voice in. Overrule him. That doesn't matter. I, like everyone else who is here now, participated in the search. The fact that you were lucky enough to stumble upon the bags first doesn't mean anything. I don't claim exclusive rights to food, unlike you. The situation was becoming tense. After the disappearance of food was discovered, the survivors stopped trusting each other. Maybe another time, I would try to intervene and explain to everyone that we're a team, that we must work together for a common goal, but not now. After what happened yesterday, I saw each of them as an enemy. Mark, don't play humanist. I know you're a rational man. Think about yourself, about Nick, about Kira. This solution will increase your chances of survival. When I heard Andre say my name, I shuddered. Noticing this, Tonya turned to me in a whisper. Kira, is something wrong? You haven't been yourself since yesterday. Of course, she noticed that something was wrong with me. I really wanted to open up to her, tell her about everything I had been through, but I couldn't do it. First of all, because I didn't want to involve her in this, fearing for her safety. But there was another reason too. Yesterday, Andre seemed to me a nice and friendly guy, alone with whom I can feel safe. But after what he did, I decided that I would never trust people I've only known for a few days. Nothing serious, I just don't feel well. Oh boy! Holy shit. It was clear from Tonya's incredulous look that I hadn't convinced her. Please, Tonya, you need to be there. You need to be there for Kira. Stop this farce. These few extra portions divided among the whole group will help each of us get through one more day at best. This extra day can save us. Only a miracle can save us. I can see perfectly well that you didn't conceive of this, all this for the sake of increasing the chances of salvation, but out of revenge. Oh, you're just going to straight up call him out? Bullshit. Mark did not take into account that besides revenge, Andre had another motive. He wanted power. He was trying to show that he can make any decisions he wants and others would obey. Anyway, it's just a suggestion. I don't have the right to make a decision for everyone, so we can vote on this issue if you want. Andre seemed to read my thoughts. It made me uneasy. I'm fine with it. All the survivors will vote, and if the majority chooses your option, I'll accept it. Lisa cheered up. She believed that voting could bring the outcome she wanted, but it's unlikely that Andre would have offered to hold it if he wasn't sure of his victory. All the survivors? Then what's the point of this vote at all? Those who don't do anything for group survival, I should probably say survival, do not have the right to vote. Oh god. Oh, Lisa, don't take his side. Lisa also took Andre's side, another person I was disappointed in. Why did she do that? Does she really believe that these extra portions can save us? Or does she also have a conflict with someone of the wounded? Or maybe she felt that Andre had taken over the power in our group and wants to be on the side of the mighty? To deprive someone of the right vote, it's necessary to hold a vote at which this decision will be made. As long as there is no such decision, all members of the group should vote. Are you a doctor or a lawyer? The one who did not contribute to the salvation of the group did not earn the right to voice. Imagine if there were you and 4 lazy people in the group, who by voting would force you to work for them. Boria and Nastia should also take part in the voting. We have to wait for them to come back. Okay, this group's clearly going to split. They're going to split in 2. They won't come back, it's over. Are we supposed to starve to death because our lovebirds got lost? Andre, unlike Vadim, at least tried to imitate empathy. Tonya, I really hope that they will come back, but 2 days have passed and there's not much of a chance that they are still alive. Meanwhile, we have a critical situation here. We can hold another vote if they return. In any case, I'm against the wounded not voting. I've already said that in this case the vote will be meaningless. All of us will die because of their selfishness. Oh, you are pissing me off. After a few seconds, Lisa broke the silence. You know what? I don't mind playing by his rules, because we're going to win anyway. Not everyone is as heartless as you, Andre. You'll be supported by 2 people at most. Then I'll give up my idea. He'll win, Lisa. They've planned it all in advance. I heard Nick whisper. He was probably right, but Lisa did not lose hope. Mark, are you okay with holding a vote? I am not, but I don't see any other options. Either Mark had already accepted defeat, or he had some kind of backup plan and he was bluffing. Then we vote. Let those who are against raise their hand. Why is it those who are against? Is there a difference? No, it's just weird. You're sure that your point of view is more popular? What are you afraid of? Yes, I am. Fine, let's vote like this. Of course, raising your hand to vote for this idea is more difficult than just keeping silent. Everyone understands this, but they don't argue. Andre is dead, Lisa, and Mark is apparently so confident of defeat, so he does not argue. Oh, and of course he's fucking raped Kira, so Kira's probably going to be too scared to go against him. Okay, let's try it once more. Who is against the idea that food and other supplies should be received only by those who have participated in finding them at least once? Well, and also by Lisa, since she also did important work. Lisa raised her hand first. She looked like an honour student who was ready to answer the teacher's question. A second later, Nick and Tonya also voted no. Mark raised his hand a little later. I think not because he hesitates, but in order to show his indifference and contempt. Thus, 4 people raised their hands. Lisa, Tonya, Nick, and Mark. Andre and Vadim were a lost cause. Alice's refusal to raise a hand did not surprise me either, although I hoped to the last that there was a decent person beneath a mask of rudeness and indifference. Mitrich and Vitya attracted everyone's attention. The former was silent and looked away. The latter sat huddled, as if trying to become small and unnoticeable. Oh, you're going to chicken out now, are you? Why did they act like that? It wasn't like them at all. Maybe I was wrong about them as well? Or did Andre threaten them? I was looking at Vitya in surprise. Tonya's eyes were on me. Noticing this, I realised that I hadn't actually raised my hand either. So, it's 4 votes against 6. If that's all, then the vote is closed, and my proposal is accepted. Now everyone forgot about Vitya and Mitrich and looked only at me. Unable to stand it, I looked down. Count to 10, please. Hoping for a miracle, smartass. Vadim, don't be rude to him. Yes, politely. I'll count. 10. 9. I'm confused and fear shackles me. I'm going over the options in my head and once again I don't understand what to do. Oh, please. You've got to friggin... Oh. 8. 7. This is actually quite tense. I'm actually feeling quite tense. I have to vote. Not even because this stupid proposal is absolutely inhumane, but because I have to speak out against Andre. 6. 5. But then he will kill me. He'll find a way to get some privacy, or do it when I'm sleeping. He'll kill me and most likely he'll do it cruelly. And he'll do the same to Mark and Tonya if they stand up to me. Well, that's the point at which you need to basically kill him. Genuine suggestion. I think in this survival situation. 4. 3. In fact, I don't really care about my survival. By voting I'll have a chance to help others, but my plan of revenge is not ready yet. By staying silent now, I can lull Andre and take him by surprise later. And if I raise my hand, it may be over sooner. I will not have enough time. 2. 1. I'm going to do it. I'm going to raise my hand. Oh, it's probably bad, but at the last second I made up my mind and raised my hand. Tonya and Lisa exhaled with relief, and Andre's nasty smile disappeared from his face. He was glaring at me now. 5 votes against, 5-4. I believe that equality of votes is not enough to make a decision. Andre quickly regained his confident look, as if he was not surprised by such an outcome. Perhaps you're right. If you guys don't want to fight for your survival, then I won't force you, but I propose to hold a second vote tomorrow. Maybe some of those who voted against will come to their senses. Or they won't live to see tomorrow. Mark shrugged his shoulders indifferently. Sorry, is nobody going to pick up on that last statement that he just made? Is nobody going to challenge him and say, dude, what the fuck does that mean? Discussion ended and we left to go to the camp. God, there's like an 11th chapter. How many bloody chapters are there in this? I thought this was just a fucking... Wow, there's a lot more to this than I thought there would be. I love games, strategies for example. Most of my classmates learned more about the history of the world from strategies than from school textbooks, and I am no exception. Who doesn't like to feel like a brilliant commander or emperor, a modern-day Hannibal or Barbarossa? This is the difference between strategies and most other games. It's not one character or even a small squad that you control, but a huge state, managing which you decide the fate of thousands or even millions of digital people. At the same time, I was always annoyed by the predictability of opponents in single player. Even in fairly advanced modern series, the strategic thinking of artificial intelligence and its diplomatic abilities leave much to be desired. On the other hand, in multiplayer mode, where you can challenge real people, I come off to the fullest, saving allies and punishing enemies, scheming and exposing, reading the opponent's plans like an open book, and hearing false accusations of cheating, which is the highest praise. I wanted to talk to someone, but I couldn't find right interlocutors. During the time that's passed since the crash, I managed to get closer to Boria, Nastya and Mark, but Mark was clearly in a bad mood right now, and the former two never returned. I felt uneasy. The optimistic mood that I managed to establish disappeared. Everything was just terrible. Kira and Vitya all of a sudden became very depressed and uncommunicative. Andre started this stupid vote. The food we found recently was already running out. But the worst thing, of course, was that we did not know what happened to Nastya and Boria. I tried very hard not to panic, and so far I've succeeded, but it was getting more and more difficult. Where are they? What's happened to them? Today's the 3rd day since they went missing. Funny enough, the feeling of hunger helped me not to panic. It seemed to drown out the thought process. I never imagined that someday I would not have enough energy to feel emotions. I remembered our gym teacher's favourite story. Every time we got tired after a long run, he said that we should be a little more patient, because soon we will get a second wind, and then we'll be able to run as much as we want and not get tired. I never had a chance to find it out myself. I never waited for a second wind. That said, I also read stories about people who died from running for too long, and I didn't want to join their ranks. I came to the conclusion that with hunger I achieved something that I failed to do with running. I got a second wind. I hardly thought about food. I could walk, talk, go about my daily routine. One of the side effects was that I suddenly stopped feeling emotions. It had its advantages though. I became less worried and afraid. And this is despite the strange things that I've recently witnessed. However, as in the case of running, I doubted that even with a second wind I would be able to last long. I looked at the group of people talking. Mitrich was chatting with the wounded. It seemed hypocritical to me to decide to sacrifice these people for the sake of my salvation and then have a nice chat with them as if nothing had happened. However, out of all of Andrei's friends, Mitrich annoyed me the least. I even felt sorry for him for some reason. He reminded me of the boys in the camp who walked on the heels of some alpha and did his errands. Mitrich seemed to me the same as them, spineless and dependent. Closer sat Alice. She was wrapped in several blankets. Our eyes met, and she looked away. It upset me. This behaviour was not typical for her. At other times she would have said something like, "What are you staring at, kid? Have you confused me with a girl from your kindergarten?" Or, "If you're not going to share with me a plan of salvation, you better keep quiet." But now she just looked away, and it was even worse. I'm going to look for Nastya and Boria. I don't know why I said that. Nobody seemed to care. I think that if I disappear like Boria and Nastya, the others will even be happy, because they'll be able to take my part of the food. At the entrance I met Vitya. For the last couple of days he's been smoking more than usual. I've heard other smokers complain about this. Even the supply of cigarettes, which seemed endless, was coming to an end. Seeing me, Vitya opened his mouth about to say something, but then changed his mind. Vitya was acting like a completely different person since yesterday. I'm sure he's hiding something. A person cannot change so much without a good reason. Maybe he saw something horrific, something similar to those footprints but even scarier. For example, those who left them. It could be that, and it could also partly be the fact that maybe deep down he's ashamed of the fucking fact that he voted with Andre. Maybe there's that as well. He can't bring himself to look you in the face. For now, I didn't want to think about it. I walked past Vitya in silence. Where should I go now? I had no plan, no ideas. I decided to move in a random direction. There was no blizzard right now, so I'd hardly get lost, but just in case, I decided not to stray too far from the plane. I walked and tried not to think about the cold. The face and hands suffered the most. My face was chapped and sore, and my hands seemed to become wooden. Every time after returning to the plane, for some time I tried to relearn how to move my fingers. Sometimes it would take a lot of time to do that. I tried to distance myself from the cold and think about something pleasant, but I couldn't. Instead, I remembered the dream that I had last night. In a dream, there were two demon brothers, hunger and cold, and they compete with each other. Which of them will kill more people? Oh, Jesus. Hunger in my dream looked like a black, bony creature draining his victims' lives. It looked like a Dementor or a Nazgul. His brother, on the contrary, was dazzling white, was made of either snow or ice. He ate people alive, starting with the limbs. I woke up after he bit off my fingers. That's quite an image. Since morning I've been touching my left hand, as if to make sure that my fingers were really in place. When I finally got distracted from my weird dreams and decided to turn around, the plane was already far away. I was still able to see it, but if a blizzard suddenly starts, the plane will definitely disappear from my field of vision. Noticing that I was about the same place where I found the footprints last time, I decided to turn back. My fingers were already stiff. It was possible for me to end up exactly as my other self from the dream. Suddenly, I heard a scream, and had a déjà vu. It seemed I'd already been in the exact same situation. Oh God, Jesus. Whew. I get gas coming up my throat then. It seemed that I had already been in the exact same situation. I was desperate and hopeless and then suddenly heard a scream. In any case, it just wasn't my imagination. Someone was shouting. Perhaps somebody was returned from the search, but why would they shout? Boria! Nick! Can you hear me? Nick! I finally figured out which direction the scream was coming from. Turning around, I saw two people. I couldn't see the faces, but I could distinguish the jackets, blue and yellow. Realising what this meant for the first time in several days, I felt happy. Forgetting about the frozen limbs and weakened body, I ran towards them. Nastya! Boria! They also quickened their pace. Finally, we reached each other. Shouting Nick, Nastya hugged me, almost strangling me in her arms. After her, Boria hugged me tightly. Damn guys, where have you been? I thought you were goners. We wouldn't give up so easily. Boria looked tired but happy. Nastya was beaming too. In fact, we also thought we wouldn't make it. And how did you survive? Did you really spend 2 nights outdoors? No, we're not some kind of superhumans. We'll tell you about our adventures now. It's quite interesting. When he said it, I remembered the footprints and imagined how these two survived by making friends with some mysterious local inhabitants. I quickly dismissed this stupid thought. Tell me. In short, we got lost, but after a while we found a cave. It was relatively warm there, so we decided to spend the night in it and wait out the blizzard. On the second day we wandered near the cave for a while, but because of the blizzard we again couldn't find the way. Only today we finally managed to do it. That's crazy. What about the cave? Was there something interesting inside? Boria was a little surprised by my question. I don't think so. It was a regular cave, nothing special. Also, it was pretty cold there, but still better than outside. Is Nick having like some weird psychic thing where he's like seeing into another time stream? Is he seeing like the endings, or has he got like glimmers of them in his head? Because he's been saying about déjà vu. Weird. Do you have any food? Yes, Nastya put our portions in the backpack before we left. Why? Nastya was clearly embarrassed. I was worried that someone may steal them? Or steal them? It was the right decision. What? Boria and Nastya reacted simultaneously. They could not believe that their precautions were not in vain. The day you disappeared, someone stole the food. Inokenti Igorevich blamed Andrei. Do you believe that Andrei really did it? I'm not sure. Andrei acts suspiciously, though. He arranged a vote to deprive the wounded of portions of food and distribute them among the rest. That's rough. Why would he do that? Did he really hope that these few extra portions would save him? We asked him the same question. Perhaps he and the others had already gone crazy from hunger, or he decided to take revenge on Inokenti Igorevich. And what was the result of the vote? Draw. It seems that Andrei reluctantly agreed that this was not enough to make a decision, and today we plan to arrange a follow-up vote, but since you're back there's nothing to be afraid of. Suddenly I doubted. Maybe they would like Andrei's idea? Am I right? Nastya narrowed her eyes and gave me a look that could be interpreted as, why are you even asking? Your doubts are ridiculous. You guys must be freezing and want to get to the plane as soon as possible, and here I am, bombarding you with questions. Shall we go to camp? Boria hesitated as if he wanted to say something, but did not dare. Is something wrong? No, it's all right. Let's go. After some time we reached the camp. After survivors calmed down, they started asking questions. Boria and Nastya repeated their story about the cave. The story did not arouse much excitement. There was no need to change our camp to a cave, which would have to be insulated and fixed up from scratch. However, Andrei found the story about the cave interesting for some reason. After a while he came up to Boria and me. Nick, I'm sorry to interrupt your conversation, but I wanted to exchange a few words with Boria. Okay? Apparently he was waiting for me to leave, so he can talk to Boria tete-a-tete, but then Andrei decided to continue. Boria, I'm so happy that you and Nastya are back. You can't imagine how worried I was. I'm bloody sure you were. I had to bite my tongue to keep from answering him. Thanks. Can you please tell me how to get to the cave? I want to take a look. Yeah, go to the cave, mate. I want whatever is lurking there to freaking kill you. Why though? It's just a cave, nothing interesting. There's not much to do right now anyway. Also, if we haven't seen the cave yet, it means that we haven't explored the area around it. What if the bags are there? It was clear that Borio didn't want to talk about the cave. Probably after what I told, he also began to dislike Andre. So, will you tell me? Borio could not think of a reason to refuse, so he gave up. Yeah, I'll try to explain now. Oh, God. Oh, we're doing it from Nastya's perspective, are we? I woke up to noise and screams. The first thing I saw when my eyes got used to the darkness was the gun. I'm sleeping. It's just a dream. Where the fuck have you got a gun from? Did he go to the cave in the night? No, dear, you don't. What's happening? Put that thing away. Sure. I couldn't stop thinking that it all wasn't real, until I turned around and saw Boria's corpse. You son of a bitch! Boria was one of the nice ones. We had a ship going on here. I was terrified. I kept screaming until Andre put his hand over my mouth. Shut up, bitch. Meanwhile, screams and the sounds of gunshots were coming from the back of the plane. I finished them too. Then tie her up and let's go. A couple of minutes later, Vadim dragged me out the plane. They tied me up and put some kind of rag in my mouth. Kira was already waiting for me outside. She was also tied up. Okay, girls, now I's a true villain will tell you about my atrocities. It will sound a little ridiculous, to be honest, though I can't help but share it with you, so listen up. As you know, I went to the cave today, and you have no idea what I found there. A bunker. A real one, but that's not all. I thoroughly explored the warehouse and found pistols there. Also real ones, Makarovs, I guess. After that, I returned to the camp, talked with Vadim and gave him one of the pistols. And then at night, we started executing our plan. Here we must admit that we were lucky again because 3 people were smoking outside. Mitrich, Vitya and Kira. We forced them to move a little further away from the plane, after which we tied up Kira and killed the others. Wait, so Vitya and Mitrich are dead? And there was my favourite part. We shot 5 people in just a few seconds. This guy's a fucking psychopath. Well, I mean, not that we didn't know that already. Well, except the wounded. They were shot a bit later. And it's all using the Makarovs, could you imagine? Seems to me that Vadim and I should get into the Guinness Book of Records. What is Guinness? Oh my god, you fucking assholes. Never mind, you can consider that it's a beer. That's the right, I drank it once. Okay, now as for you girls, I have good news for you. You got lucky. You're the chosen one, so to speak. We'll take you with us to the bunker. Yeah, I choose you. Oh, fucking creepo alert. Vadim leaned to me and stroked my head. You have no idea. If there was a face cam right now, you'd have seen the fact that I literally just recoiled from the screen. Oh boy. This game's done a very good job at setting them up as intensely dislikable villains who you just want to see die. Which I suppose is good writing, right? Vadim leaned to me and stroked my head. I realised that I would soon envy the dead. You're especially lucky. I decided on Kira right away. But Vadim couldn't choose between you and Lisa for a long time. But in the end he settled on you. Big boobs are fucking awesome, but I've always preferred redheads. And yet there is one but. Vadim did not take into account that each person has his own motivation. It's clear why I would need Kira in the bunker, but why the fuck would I need a dumb guy? He's going to kill Vadim. Oh man, what are you talking about? Vadim's eyes widened and his hand reached for the gun. Seeing this, Andre laughed. Look at him. I'm so lucky that you're dead stupid. Do you think I didn't count the bullets? You killed the wounded with 4 shots and now your store is empty. Stunned, Vadim did not even check Andre's words, slowly removing his hand from the gun. So Vadim, it was nice to work with you, but now fuck off. Right, well that's Vadim dead. Holy shit, there's a load of people now just dropping off lives. What about Mark? Where's Mark and Nick? Are they dead? Have they just been shot and killed? Andre shot and Vadim's body fell onto the snow with a crash. Now you, Nastya. You're not Kira, of course, but I like you too. However, I can't take you with us. I'm not sure I can keep my eye on both of you, and I don't want to take any risks. So goodbye. And Kira and I have an eternity ahead of us. He pointed a gun at me and fired without really aiming. You did not just fucking kill her. No. You got this ending because Nick didn't play contact well? In order to continue the game, you need to be able to explain at least 4 words. Don't forget that the text you've seen earlier can be skipped using the tab or control keys. What? What? Holy shit, I have to find out. There's gotta be a good ending, right? One where we get back at Andre and just fucking kill him, and we save everyone. Okay, play contact game, skip contact game, gaining the... I kind of want to skip the contact game because we've already seen it. Okay, let's do that. I mean, it's giving us the option. Some people would say this maybe is a bit cheaty, but I say no, because we've been going for quite a few hours. Okay, gain necessary amount of points. Yes. Boria held out his palm and Nastya high-fived. Sorry if the world... sorry, this is Mark. Sorry if the world is too complicated. I just thought of this. We should probably skip. Actually, hang on. What was the... Skip unseen. Here we go. Attending a Python course. How do I, like, skip? Oh, this. Oh, no, wait, what? Oh, that's like hiding the box. I see. Hang on, how do I skip? No, that's that. That's the glossary. That's the save. That's the load. Oh no, I don't want to skip unseen, do I? Is there like a button that enables me to skip? Oh. Disappointed in journalism? Okay, maybe I need to jump cut here. Okay, actually I just checked on the footage. It basically says Control or Tab. Ah, okay. Okay, so this is the horrible scene with this. Right. I think we have to obey, because otherwise it's just going to be a bad ending, isn't it? Okay, so keep going. So, return to the plane. Okay, so now we skip. Okay, so this is the whole thing with the vote. Got to raise your hand. And then it pushes us forward. We meet Boris. Oh, hello. Okay, here we go. So luckily you can... yeah, I accidentally clicked skip unseen before, but luckily I didn't accidentally skip anything. Okay, right. Here. Nick, there is something more. Boria looked at Nastya as if waiting for approval. She nodded. While we were in the cave, we heard strange noises. I felt scared, but also curious. There have been so many events in the last couple of days that I almost managed to forget the sounds and the footprints. But now, everything seemed to be adding up to the big picture. Oh, God. Guess... God, what a big game. This has been quite a friggin' experience, this one, hasn't it? I was expecting this only to be short. No, there's way more to it. What were those noises? Steps, and someone was speaking. I expected there would be something similar to what Vitya and I had heard, but speaking is something new. Go on, dude, tell me more. We heard footsteps at night. They were coming from somewhere underneath. From underneath? Yeah. Somebody seemed to be walking back and forth, and then we heard someone muttering. We couldn't make out the words, though. You know what was the strangest part? I wasn't sure what I wanted to know, but I decided to ask anyway. What? It was like only one person. It's possible, though, that the second one spoke very quietly, but anyway, we just heard one voice. So you didn't understand a single word? Boria shook his head. Not a single one. Just an indistinct murmur. And yet, it just didn't add up. Footsteps. Strange footprints. Slurping. Muttering. It's also strange that the sound came from underneath. Haven't you explored the cave? What if there was some hidden passages, sorry. No, Boria wanted to, but I talked him out of it. It was really scary to imagine that we could find someone there. I recalled how I decided not to follow the footprints and nodded in understanding. We've told you everything. Let's go to the camp now. I started thinking. Mark told me he was going to examine the central fragment. He's probably still there. Perhaps it makes sense to talk to him first. What if Mark decides it's better not to tell Andre and the others about the cave? Or maybe he'll offer an explanation for all these strange things. A few days ago, such an idea would have seemed absurd to me, but now our group is like in a Cold War. Strategy games have taught me that the most important resources in war, especially in the Cold One, are information and secrets. Yes, go to Mark. He's a fairly rational thinker. He might be able to help you. Sorry, let me just adjust my microphone. The more information people... the more people, information, and people I trust and consider my ally... Okay, that doesn't quite make sense. It should probably say, the more people I trust and consider my allies, the better. So it does not hurt to bring a new location out of the fog of war. Is something wrong? I want to tell you something too. Did something else occur while we were away? No, but I've also witnessed weird things. Nastya turned pale. Boria tried to hide his fear, but it was clear that he was also uneasy. Such as? Let me tell it in the centre. Why not here? Mark is there now. I want him to hear it too. Do you mind? Boria looked at Nastya as if saying, I don't mind. What about you? Are you sure that you can trust Mark? I am. In fact, I had confidence in no one but myself, but I trusted Mark more than the others. Let's go then. We're headed towards the centre. After a while, we stopped to catch our breath. You know, we doubted whether it was worth telling anyone. We were afraid that they would think that we had lost our minds, but in the end we decided that we would tell you. We were so lucky to see you first, Nick. I'm almost ready to believe in fate. I was very pleased to hear that the guys chose me among all the survivors. Thanks, but why me? In response, Boreal let out an awkward laugh. We were impressed with how you played Contact. You've got to be kidding me. Not really, you played really well. It was obvious that you know a lot of things. But that's not even the point. It became clear to us that you managed to build friendly relations with almost all members of the group. You've learned a thing or two about everyone, so we decided if we tell you about the cave, then you won't make fun of us and won't call us psychos. Perhaps you would even share some information with us in return. Well, it turned out that we were right. I smiled. It's always nice to get a sudden evo scare. I'm just going to jump cut again because I need to go and get a drink of water. Door's locked. Okay, never mind. I'm just worried about enemy soldiers showing up. We don't want to go. Whoa, okay. He just got fucking blown up. Good God. Alright, now you're friends. You're just going crazy. Yeah, they're not going to say anything. Oh Lord. I need machine gun rounds or something. What's that there? More rifle ammo. Okay. Oh my God, where am I going? Oh shit. Jesus. Uh-oh. Good. Right, cycle bullets. Jesus Christ. Oh God. No.